Hey guys, I'm back, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a movie review on John Wick Chapter 4. This is the fourth movie in the John Wick franchise. It was released in 2023. I don't know why I keep saying all that in my intros for my movie reviews, because that's all obvious. It stars Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, and Bill Skarsgård. In this film, John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, he must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. That is literally just me reading off the description for the trailers for this film on YouTube. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin with this review and let's start talking about the positives. So it's a John Wick movie. I'm just going to get straight to the point and talk about the action. Like, oh my god, like the John Wick franchise is known for having like amazing action and just really fantastically choreographed action sequences and fight sequences, and I genuinely think this movie has some of the best action scenes in the whole franchise. This movie just has wow-inducing, jaw-dropping, mind-blowing action sequences. It is incredible. It's one of those films that just reminds you that the action movies and just movies in general are a beautiful thing. I mean, the trailers for this film are pretty awesome, but they just do not do justice to the movie at all, in my opinion. I mean, like, the camera work in some of the action scenes is like surprisingly really great at times, and the choreography is just so good, and the stunts as well. It's all really great, and just as an action movie fan, I just absolutely loved all of it. I mean, even if you're not an action fan, you're gonna like at least respect the action in the film. It's incredible, and like it's really just like some of the best action sequences in film we've had like for years, in my opinion. I think it's just really great, especially in the third act, which is just astonishing. So the action is all amazing, even by this franchise's standards. It's amazing. I mean, like, it is quite exhausting. Like, action sequences in this film, they are quite long, but they are just fantastic. The characters as well. I think I would say this probably has my favorite batch of characters out of any of the John Wick movies. I mean, each character is memorable enough. And the cast as well is just like all really quite good. Especially Donnie Yen, he's just really good in the film, and of course Keanu Reeves is as great as ever. So that was really great to see. Yeah, the characters in this film are quite memorable. I would also say like again, even by this franchise's standards, I'd say this probably has the best. Yeah, I'd say this probably has the best cinematography out of any of the films. I mean, the franchise, like, it's always had like really quite good cinematography, but it's just on a whole. It's just like on a whole different level in this film, and it is the cinematography is absolutely fantastic. Especially in like some of the action sequences, it's all just really great. With the length of the movie as well, I mean, did it need to be as long as it is? No, probably not. But if I'm being honest, I didn't feel the length while I was watching it. And I mean, there have been movies in the past that have like just been really long, and I haven't been bored watching them. But I've still like felt the length, felt the length of it a little bit. I mean that like it's not always necessarily like a bad thing, at least in my opinion. If you like feel the length, it doesn't like always hurt the film. But like that wasn't even the case with this film at all for me. I just didn't feel the length while I was watching it, and I got to like I got to like the third act, and I was just like, really, we're here already. So I mean that's definitely not going to be the case for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people will definitely feel the length, especially with just how long some of the action sequences are. So I mean, it is a little bit overlong, but the length didn't really hurt the film that much for me, so that was great to see. Another thing about this film that actually kind of stood out to me a little bit was the score. Actually, I quite liked the soundtrack for the film, and I thought some of the music fit the action scenes quite well, actually, so that was great. I mean, a lot of the music here has, it is just from the previous John Wick films, but I mean, hey, it's still good. I'd also say this movie just overall does a better job with the story than the third movie did, and what I mean by that is that the third movie just kind of felt a little bit kind of aimless with its story, and it felt like its purpose was just to deliver more John Wick, and it didn't really move the story of the franchise along that much. Whereas I think this one definitely did, so that was good to see. So I mean, I'm sorry that all this is just a little bit vague, but I mean, like, the stuff here in the positive section, it's all just great. I mean, like, especially the action and the cinematography are just the two things about this film, like, that in my opinion are just like there's just the best things about this film. They're so amazing, and I'm sorry, it's all a little bit vague, but I mean, that's probably I'm a little bit speechless, if I'm being honest, after watching the film. So I guess that's why this is kind of a short review, or at least this positive section is a bit short. So yeah, now let's start talking about the negatives, I guess. And what I will say about the negatives is, well, I mean, the first thing is, I don't think the John Wick franchise has been particularly good, with its storytelling, honestly, and I think, the main focus of it is just the action stuff rather than the story, mostly, specifically once you get into the sequels. And I do feel like that is also the case here. And I think the action stuff is just a bit more kind of interesting than the story stuff. I feel like I think the original plan was to shoot like John Wick Chapter 4 and 5 both back to back, and then they ended up not doing that and just making like Chapter 4 and 5 one movie. And I think you can kind of feel that with this film. And that's probably why the movie is so long, because it's kind of both those films in one. I think that's kind of what it is. And as a result, I feel like it's not really messy, but I do feel I think you can kind of feel the fact that they were gonna shoot both the films back to back, but then they ended up just making it one film. I think you can kind of feel that when you're watching the film, or at least I could. So yeah, it's not overstuffed, but it's stuffed. It's definitely stuffed, especially with the character of Tracker, who, I mean, I think he's literally just known as Tracker. He feels a little bit, not that much, just a little bit unnecessary. I mean, not really that unnecessary, because he's the character with the dog. But at the same time, it kind of did feel like he didn't really need to be there. So yeah, that's it feels a little bit just kind of packed with stuff at times. But again, it's not like really like that convoluted or messy or anything, so that's good. I will also say, in like, especially in like the first kind of in like the first half of the movie, or well, not the first half, but more in the first kind of half an hour maybe. It kind of feels like John Wick is a little bit kind of sidelined, and it feels like the focus of the story isn't always on John Wick, which I thought was a bit of a kind of a questionable choice. But I mean, if you want to like flesh out other elements of your story and other characters, I mean that kind of it's okay to do that, but at the same time, I feel like he should have been a bit more of the focus of the movie. But I don't really think that was the case for quite a bit of it. And there's also there are a lot of times in this movie where John Wick is able to survive some like seriously like questionable stuff. I mean, it's really questionable how he survives a lot of things he does in the film. It's like, spoiler alert for the third movie if you haven't seen it yet. Well, like mild spoilers for it. Like, take the ending of the third movie, and that kind of happens multiple times throughout the film, and it's a bit distracting, and it kind of takes you out of the movie just a little bit. But I mean, it's like by this point in the franchise, you're not really surprised that kind of stuff is happening. So, and it's overlong, in my opinion. It didn't need to be as long as it is, as I said, and it just like, as I said, it will probably hurt the film for quite a few people. But I mean, it didn't hurt it for me, so there's that. But it didn't need to be the length that it is, and I feel like they could have trimmed quite a bit off and maybe removed a couple of things, like maybe Tracker, but I don't know. But I like it just didn't need to be as long as it was, in my opinion. So yeah. But I mean, those are all just nitpicks, and I mean, chances are I'll probably have a few more once I'm not so flabbergasted by what I saw, but I would not be surprised if this goes on to be the best action movie of the entire year. Honestly, the only other action film I can think of being better than this right now, honestly, is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, but I could be completely wrong, and if any other action movie this year is better than this one, it's going to be a truly phenomenal one, because John Wick Chapter 4 is an amazing action movie. I'm so glad that it was as good as it was, as thrilling as it was, as exciting as it was, and just as just impressive as it was. And like I said earlier, it's just one of those films that reminds you that action movies, and just movies in general, are just a beautiful thing. And this is just another fantastic action movie. I mean, the action is just the best part of the film, honestly. But I mean, that itself is just like on a whole different level from like what we've seen recently. And I mean, even by this franchise's standards, it's still just truly so amazing. And as I said, I'm so glad that it was this great, at least in my opinion. So I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 4 a 9 out of 10. I probably would have given it higher, but, like I said, there were a few things with, like, the story and a couple things like that that just didn't really work that well for me. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 4 gets a 9 out of 10 from me. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this review. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to. If you have seen the film, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.